morning light filters through dusty windows as Thomas Marlowe, a middle-aged artisan with calloused hands, begins his day in the back room of his furniture shop. The steady rhythm of his plane smoothing oak boards echoes in the narrow lane of Cedarville, an industrious American town where every storefront bustles with purpose. Outside, vendors hawk produce and neighbors greet one another, while horses clop past newly laid sidewalks. Thomas pauses, wipes sweat from his brow, and surveys the rough-cut planks awaiting his craftsmanship. Each piece he carves is infused with pride and the weight of his family's hopes. A worn photograph tacked to a beam shows Thomas, his wife Linda, and their two sons smiling, though each expression bears its own story. Thomas straightens, clenches his jaw, and resumes work with determined precision. Dovetail joints, smooth dovetail inlays, and graceful curves emerging under his steady blade. Though he thrives on the artistry, his brow furrows with the burden of earnings and the need to keep his family secure in an unpredictable market. In the Marlowe home next door, a modest clapboard house trimmed in pale blue. Thomas enters the kitchen. Linda, graceful and patient, flips pancakes as two boys sit at a sturdy table. Andrew, the elder at 16, sits hunched, spoon halfway to. His lips, eyes cast downward. His thin frame and hesitant movements betray a timid soul. Lucas, 14, beams across the table, chatting easily with the maid as he stacks his pancakes high. Linda offers Andrew a warm smile. "Try the syrup today, sweetheart," she says softly. Andrew nods, voice barely above a whisper. "Thank you, Mama." Lucas nudges him playfully. "Lighten up, Andrew. You'll miss the bus." The younger boy's confident laughter fills the room. Andrew manages a small smile but retreats into silence. Thomas, mouth half full, frowns at Andrew's quietness. After a moment, he sets his fork down. Thomas clears his throat. "Andrew, are you listening? You'll be late." His tone is sharp. Andrew's head snaps up, startled. "I'm coming." He stands awkwardly, nearly knocking his chair over. Linda glances at Thomas with concern but says nothing. Lucas hops up and bounds out the door. Andrew lingers, gathering books. Thomas shakes his head, muttering under his breath. At Cedarville High, Andrew meanders through crowded halls, backpack slung low. Classmates brush past, voices blending into distant thunder. He passes a trio of boys whispering. One snickers as Andrew's papers spill to the floor. Kneeling, he collects them. The boy pushes him roughly. "Watch it, ghost boy." Andrew's cheeks burn. He does not retaliate. Across the corridor, Lucas exchanges jokes with friends, drawing smiles. In class, Andrew hesitates to answer questions, eyes darting around. When called upon, he stammers. The teacher's brows furrow. A student in the back mocks him under breath. Fear knots in Andrew's chest. He glances reflexively at the door as if escape might appear. After class, Andrew retreats to a quiet corner of the library, burying his head in books. Despite his intelligence, anxiety tightens its grip. Homework suffers, grades slip. At home, Thomas gleans the report card, B's and C's. His lips thin. He stamps his foot. "Is this what I pay tuition for? You're wasting your mind." Andrew's gaze drops. Linda reaches for his hand, offering silent comfort. Weeks later, Thomas invites Andrew to assist in the shop. With hammer and chisel in hand, Andrew approaches a half-assembled chair. His hands tremble. He aligns a dowel crookedly. The piece wobbles. Thomas strides over, ripping the chair from Andrew's grasp. "What are you doing? You'll ruin everything!" he roars. Andrew's face flushes. He steps back. As Thomas repositions the workpiece, Andrew grips his wrench awkwardly, unknowingly tightening a bolt backwards. The chair collapses under its own weight. Thomas slaps his palm against the workbench, sparks in his eyes. "I told you to pay attention. Is it too much to ask?" Andrew flinches, silent tears stitching his lids. Linda, who'd been gathering planks, meets Andrew's gaze. She mouths an apology. Later, Andrew lingers alone among discarded scraps. His hands hover over the wood, uncertainty anchoring his fingers. He wants to help, to please his father, yet fear chokes each attempt. Outside, Lucas waves through the window. Come on, bro, game night. Andrew forces a smile but does not move. One drizzly afternoon, Andrew sits behind the counter. His heart pounds as two sharply dressed men enter, umbrellas dripping. Their polished shoes click on the wooden floor. The taller man tips his hat. Good day, Thomas Marlowe sent us. He flashes a leather-bound note. Andrew glances toward the workshop. It's empty. They claim urgent orders. High-value tables and cabinets must be delivered at once to a special patron. Hesitant, Andrew asks for identification. They produce counterfeit seals and names, insisting that Thomas is occupied. Andrew's chest tightens. He's uncertain what to do but unwilling to offend. He nods, unlocks the oak cabinet, and watches, helplessly as they load ornate pieces onto a cart. Behind him, the workshop door swings open. No one enters. Moments after the men depart, Andrew realizes the entire front window now stands bare. Panic floods him. He staggers to the door and peers. Into the street, a mist of rain and vanished criminals. Thomas returns as dusk settles. He enters the shop, shoulders heavy from a long delivery. The empty displays greet him like gaping wounds. Where is everything? His voice shatters the silence. Andrew stammers. 2 men. They said you sent them. Thomas's face contorts. He grabs Andrew's collar. How could you be so stupid? I trusted you. He thrusts Andrew backward. The boy trips over a toolbox, scraping his knee. Linda arrives, shielding Andrew. Thomas, please. But Thomas silences her with a flick of his hand. Get out. I never want to see you here again. Andrew rises, tears streaking his cheeks. He gapes, unable to speak as he shoves past his father and mother, stumbling into the night. The lamp flickers behind the workshop windows. Inside, Thomas's silhouette trembles with regret he refuses to acknowledge. Outside town, the riverbank glistens under a pale moon. Andrew walks without thought, each step heavier than the last. Memories weigh on him. His father's eyes, the townspeople's whispers, the hollow joblessness of his future. He reaches the water's edge and gazes into the rippling depths. The river's song feels like a lullaby to despair. Andrew kneels, heart pounding. I'm worthless. My life is a burden. He inches closer, the cold wind biting through his thin coat. His foot hovers over the shallow bank. Then, Andrew! A voice calls urgently. A lanky youth sprints down the bank. Samuel, a wandering disciple with bright eyes, reaches Andrew just as he slips. He grips Andrew's arm, hauling him back. Andrew sputters in shock. Samuel holds firm. Life is a gift, Samuel insists. You're not alone. Andrew collapses against him, tears soaking Samuel's shoulder. Samuel leads Andrew through winding trails to a humble hut atop a grassy knoll. A venerable figure, Master Elijah, sits cross-legged on a woven mat beneath a cedar tree. His robes are simple. His eyes glow with compassion. Samuel bows. Andrew kneels. Elijah speaks gently. Tell me your burden, child. Andrew's voice quavers as he recounts his failures, father's fury, and desire to end his life. The saint listens without interruption, nodding. When Andrew finishes, Elijah places a reassuring hand on his shoulder. There is no shame in fear, Elijah says. But you must learn to see fear as your teacher, not your master. He proposes a journey of 3 days, each with a task to rekindle courage. Andrew trembles but nods, determined to reclaim his worth. Day 1. Elijah instructs Andrew. Speak to 10 strangers today. Learn their stories. Nervous, Andrew ventures into Cedarville's market. Heart pounding, he greets a baker, a seamstress, a traveling musician. With each exchange, an elderly woman's recollection of youth, a farmer's dream of prosperity, Andrew's voice strengthens. A priority vegetable seller even laughs at one of Andrew's awkward jokes. By sunset, the boy's shoulders are less curved, his eyes more open. Day 2. Elijah's next challenge brings Andrew to a dusty schoolhouse where young children struggle to build a wooden tower for a teamwork exercise. Andrew's anxiety resurfaces. "What if I don't know enough to teach?" he asks. Elijah smiles. "Share what you do know." Andrew gathers the children, speaks of patience, cooperation, and gentle guidance. As the tower wobbles and then stands firm, the children cheer, and Andrew smiles genuinely for the first time in weeks. At dusk, Andrew returns, flushed with accomplishment. Elijah greets him calmly. "You learn by doing and sharing. Fear shrinks when faced." Day 3, the final task looms. "Confront your father," Elijah says. Andrew's gut twists, but the next morning he steels himself, clutching a simple wooden gift, a small carved dove. Samuel walks beside him. The road to Cedarville feels endless. At the shop, Thomas sharpens tools, shoulders slumped from worry. When Andrew steps inside, Thomas turns, surprise and unease colliding on his face. Andrew's voice trembles. "Father, I'm sorry for disappointing you. He holds out the dove. "I worked every day with Master Elijah to learn courage, to honor you, and myself." Tears glisten in Andrew's eyes. Thomas's stern lines soften. He drops his file. His voice cracks. "Andrew, I was wrong. I'm proud of you for trying, for growing." He envelops his son in an embrace. Neighbors peep in, nodding in approval. Linda appears, joy shining. Lucas pumps Andrew's shoulder, awe in his grin. Years later, Andrew Marlowe, now a confident craftsman and community leader, stands at a grand opening of his own business. Patrons admire his fine work and gentle guidance. Thomas, older and wiser, beams with pride. Lucas serves as Andrew's business partner, and Linda presides over family affairs. A commemorative plaque bears Elijah's words. "Fear is a guide, not a grave." Andrew smiles at the gathering crowd, proof that even the shyest heart can blaze with courage when fear is faced and friendship embraced.